Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to Wednesday's edition of the DC Universe Daily. So Patty Jenkins has spoken out about the Wonder Woman free situation a week after the media delivered it to us without any official statements from Warner Brothers, James Gunn, or Peter Safran. So now she's speaking out. So we're going to be delving into this with an Aaron Couch article over at THR. I will go through this article for you, and then I will do what we always do on this channel and on my multiple platforms, which is clear away the mist, clear away the bullshit. And I will tell you my view about the situation. So let's go. Patty Jenkins breaks silence on Wonder Woman 3. There was nothing I could do to move anything forward. You'll get my opinion. You'll get my opinion. The filmmaker is no longer expected to make a third installment of the DC franchise, by Aaron Couch of The Hollywood Reporter. Patty Jenkins has broken her silence on Wonder Woman 3. The Hollywood Reporter broke the news December 7th that Jenkins' iteration of Wonder Woman 3 was not moving forward after she submitted a treatment to Warner's leadership. A day later, the Wrap reported that Jenkins walked away from the project after a dispute over notes with the studio. In a statement shared on her Twitter, Jenkins began by writing, "Sigh. I'm not one to talk about private career matters, but I will not allow inaccuracies to continue. Here are the facts." Basically, this statement is basically facts, but mixed away to make it sound like everything in the garden was actually rosy. And she's not a diva who walked away from the project. But basically, what we see here, everyone, is a director who's trying to, let's say, blag the fact that she was fired. So we continue. When there started being backlash about Wonder Woman 3 not happening, the attractive clickbait false story that it was me that killed it or walked away started to spread. Jenkins wrote, "This is simply not true. I never walked away. I was open to considering anything asked of me. It was my understanding that there was nothing I could do to move anything forward at this time. DC is obviously buried in changes they are having to make, so I understand these decisions are difficult right now." Wow. Talk about... Now, do you know what? We'll wait for my opinion. We'll wait. I have a lot to say. She continued, "I do not want what has been a beautiful journey with Wonder Woman to land on a negative note. So you're going to spin the narrative. I have loved and been so honoured to be the person who got to make these last two Wonder Woman films. Of course, the truth is Zack Snyder pretty much made the first one and you made the second one. And basically, we'll get into it. She is an incredible character. Yes, she is. Living in and around her values makes her a better person every day. I wish her and her legacy an amazing future ahead, with or without me." Well, it's going to be without you, Patty. But again, you're trying to confuse the narrative like there's still hope that you could be involved. Jenkins went on to praise absolute legend Linda Carter, of course, because basically you see Wonder Woman as Linda Carter, the original Wonder Woman who appeared briefly in Wonder Woman 1984 and franchise Gal Gadot, whom she called the greatest gift I have received in the whole journey, a cherished friend, inspiration and sister. A sister that Zack Snyder, a man, actually cast and not you. Continued, Jenkins, "There are no words I can use to convey how magical she is. She is the walking embodiment of Wonder Woman and in real life and a better person than the world can imagine. Never once in the millions of moments I have spent with her did I see anything less. She's a gift to this world and even more so to me." Jenkins came to prominence with 2003's Monster, which earned Charlize Theron a Best Actress Oscar. After spending years in the world of television, she became a top director with Wonder Woman, the groundbreaking 2017 film that was the first studio superhero movie directed by a woman. The film earned acclaim and 822.8 million globally. She went on to direct Wonder Woman 84, which in 2020 was released day and date on HBO Max amid the pandemic and received tepid views. Jenkins also addressed another project. We might as well get into this as well. The Star Wars feature Rogue Squadron, which presumably was dead after Lucasfilm indefinitely delayed it last year. However, she noted it is still in active development. Again, let me clear the mist for you here. Active development doesn't mean she's still involved. Basically, if this film ever happens, she'll be an executive producer because she was once involved in it. Doesn't mean she continues to be involved, but it makes it look like there's still a chance of her making it. This is a desperate attempt to say to the audience and the industry, I am not a diva. Please work with me. I want to make more blockbusters. I want to fuck over more iconic characters. No. The only thing Patty Jenkins is good for is little indie movies. But we'll get into it. In active development, and that after delaying the project to focus on Wonder Woman 3, Lucasfilm offered her a new contract and she's still working on it, though she's unclear if it will get made or not. Think about it here, what she's saying. She's contradicting herself. They offered her another contract. Think about this for a minute. But she's still not sure that this film is being made or not. That doesn't make sense. Why did they offer you another contract then, Patty? What's going on? A few weeks ago, she said Warner Brothers, the studio, and at the time, David Zaslav had already taken over, that the studio wanted her to carry on, not only to make Wonder Woman 3, but multiple more Wonder Woman projects. What happened, Patty? What changed in about a month? So, basically, you can't trust everything this woman says, and that's for sure. So the move comes weeks into the tenure of new DC Studios bosses James Gunn and Peter Safran, who are soon expected to present a DC plan to Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav. Now, this is really funny. Gunn backed up Jenkins' tweeting Tuesday, I can attest that all of Peter and my interactions with you were only pleasant and professional. Oh, isn't that great? Well, everything in the garden is rosy then, James and Peter, because you were all very, very professional. So we'll get into it. So that's the article. I'm going to pause this video now, clear my throat because it's a little bit froggy, because I'm going to be very loud and very opinionated, and I'm going to clear this mist for you once and for all. Patty Jenkins wasted her oxygen on a monologue to spin the fact that she was fired by Warner Brothers for Wonder Woman 3. Basically, that is what she's saying, but she's mixing it up. She admits she couldn't go forward with the project, but why? So let me reiterate what I just said earlier, that Patty Jenkins months ago sat in front of journalists and said that Warner Brothers Pictures wanted her to make Wonder Woman 3, that she was just about to finish writing the movie, they were going to look at it, but they also wanted her to make multiple projects of Wonder Woman going forward. As I asked earlier, what went wrong, Patty? So this is my theory. I think David Zaslav, being inexperienced in scripted entertainment, wanted Patty Jenkins to go forward. Then James Gunn and Peter Safran came in and they said, hang on a minute, David, mate. Have you actually seen Wonder Woman 84? No, just no. I believe it's Peter and James who didn't want to move forward with Wonder Woman 3 under the directorship of Patty Jenkins, and I actually think that's what's happened. And if James Gunn and Peter Safran are responsible for her removal, I have new faith of their leadership of DC Studios going forward. Because anyone who wanted to continue with this person in charge of Wonder Woman, after we all viewed Wonder Woman 84, we all viewed the same fucking movie. Look, I'm sorry, but I'm going to be a Simon Cowell here. It was a piece of shit. That's what the movie was. A piece of shit. It was embarrassing to everyone involved, but it was more embarrassing to Patty Jenkins because she made a mess of it. And she's a classic example of Hollywood's groupthink in terms of representing female directors. Oh, we've got a female superhero movie. Oh, I know, best get a female director. But let's not bother getting a talented one, finding the best woman for the job. Nah, as long as she's got Hollywood DNA, right? You know what I'm saying. I don't need to say it. I don't want to say it in direct terms because we're not free to speak freely these days about the truth, about the entertainment industry, because they will spin it as something else. It's not about hate. It's not about anything else. It's not about me being an ist or an ism. These are the facts. When they're looking for a female director, Hollywood DNA, she's a woman. As long as she looks like she knows what she's doing and talking about, it'll be fine. Patty Jenkins was never qualified to make a mainstream blockbuster DC movie or trilogy or anything of the sort. By the way, Zack Snyder actually recruited a wonderfully talented female director, and they got rid of her over creative differences because they didn't want to go the total Snyder way. So they got rid of the actual good, qualified female director and brought in Patty Jenkins. People always throw at me, she did Monster. Yes, she did. A little indie movie. That's what she's good for. I'm sure she's a very good filmmaker when she's not under any pressure. The proof of the pudding, everyone, is within the eating. In the first Wonder Woman, we saw a wonderfully epic, beautiful, compelling, fun superhero origin movie. Why? Because Zack Snyder was protecting Patty Jenkins while she was working under his wing. It was him who did the fighting choreography. It's his team who did the VFX. It's him and his Wonder Woman comic book writer who co-wrote the story and the screenplay. And all Patty Jenkins did occasionally is shout action. But her name's on the movie. So the novices out there believe Patty Jenkins directed one of the best superhero comic book movies of all time. And this, my friends, is simply not true. The fact is, what the first Wonder Woman film is the classic and the wonder that it is because of Zack Snyder and the people he brought onto the project. He was protecting her. What did she do? She believed her own hype, sacked Zack's people, sacked Zack's supporting actors from the first movie, moved as far away as possible from the first movie because she thought she was bigger than she actually was and more qualified than she actually was. I believe she's a very, very delusional director and she actually believes her own hype. She's the one who moved away from Zack. What happened? Basically, Wonder Woman 84 proved that the first Wonder Woman movie is in fact more of a Zack Snyder project than a Patty Jenkins one. Because the person who wrote and directed Wonder Woman 84 can't be the person who gave us the first Wonder Woman film. Basically, let me give you an analogy here. I can't draw to save my life. I can only do badly drawn matchstick men. So let's look at this, right? Say I revive Picasso or someone else, right? A great artist. And I do my matchstick men, but I put by Picasso. You ain't gonna fucking believe Picasso did that matchstick man, are you? And the people in the fandom who have brains understand who the credit should really go to for the first Wonder Woman movie. But we live in an age of, female empowerment. And if that means we have to pretend and give fake credit to women who are not, who are not responsible for the greatness, let's do it. Because we've got to empower women any way possible. Because the extreme left in Hollywood have decided this. Birds of Prey tries to make commentary on men taking credit for women's work. How ironic. The irony isn't lost on me that the first Wonder Woman film has a woman taking credit for a man's work. They are the facts. Patty Jenkins is an incompetent director in terms of huge blockbuster mainstream movies. That's a fact. Now, Monster proves that she can make a good film, but making Monster and the Wonder Woman blockbuster are two very different things. And as soon as Peter and James came in, they said, oh, no, you don't. She admitted herself in her bullshit monologue that there was no way for her to go forward with Wonder Woman 3. Why was there no way for her to go forward? She said she was willing to make any changes, right? Now, according to Boris Kittle, the Hollywood Reporter last week, she basically, walked away because she wasn't happy with the notes. In fact, Umberto Gonzalez, shall I say, sorry about that, Umberto, even though I don't like you, I like to pronounce names properly. Let's be respectful on this platform. So, according to Umberto Gonzalez of The Wrap, she actually sent co-chair of Warner Brothers Pictures, Mike DeLuca, the meaning from the internet of a character arc. She didn't seem to deny any of that on her bullshit monologue, did she now? So obviously that's true. So basically this is a story of someone being put in a job who should never have been there. So congratulations to James Gunn and Peter Safran, because I've been doubtful about your leadership since that Boris Kitt Hollywood Reporter article. But I can say today, I believe this, and if James wants to correct me on this, he can, but he won't. It was James Gunn and Peter Safran who wanted to move away from Patty Jenkins' stranglehold on the Wonder Woman franchise, because guess what? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that Wonder Woman, basically Patty Jenkins, should be nowhere near Wonder Woman. So Gal stays and Patty goes. That hasn't changed from last week, and believe you me, if Boris Kitt of the Hollywood Reporter didn't reveal this, pretty much being a great journalist, because this is what journalists do. They inform people whether big trillion-dollar companies want them to or not. That type of journalism, everyone, is going out. He kept us informed, and because he kept us informed and told us something they never wanted us to know, maybe we would never have found out how the things played out. All I wanted to hear is that Patty Jenkins is no longer involved in shaping Wonder Woman. I know that. I don't care about the gory details. I don't really care if she was fired or walked away. But according to her, she did not walk away. She was willing to make any changes possible to her script. Why is she telling us that now? Why is she telling you and me that, the fans? She's talking to Hollywood as a whole and saying, I am not a diva. I am not difficult to work with, because she's in a really difficult position now. Because since Wonder Woman 84, the entire industry has seen that she's not capable of working on a huge project. She later confirmed this again by, Rogue Squadron, because that's a mess as well. Now, luckily, Kathleen Kennedy may be crazy, but she wasn't crazy enough to carry on with her after she saw her antics on Rogue Squadron and read her script. And also, I'm sure Kathleen was very, very, scared, let's be honest, once she saw Wonder Woman 84, and maybe you should have waited, but you believed what we all believed. Kathleen, it's not your fault. We believed that actually the reason the first Wonder Woman film is so good was because of Patty Jenkins, and this is false. She took credit for somebody else's work, and it's as simple as that. So that's me clearing the mist away, everyone. That Patty Jenkins is an incompetent director when it comes to mainstream blockbuster movies, and Wonder Woman 84 proved this, and James and Peter said, no more, no more. We can't carry on. As he said, after the Hollywood Reporter article last week, James Gunn on Twitter, quite right, we will continue. Actually, I would say I want a hard reboot, so I wouldn't say it's quite right, and I've disagreed with this. But in terms of Patty Jenkins, it's true. We want to continue with the things that work and, fix the things that haven't worked. Now, basically on Patty Jenkins, this is good, this is factual, and this is right. So I do believe it's James and Peter we have to thank for removing her. I don't care if Patty Jenkins is a nice person. Patty Jenkins is a very nice, pleasant, polite, well-mannered woman. And that's great. But we're not working in the charity sector here. We're working in a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And there's no room for feelings or charity. So when James Gunn goes, yes, all our interactions have been very professional. If you notice about that statement, James Gunn doesn't say, I can't wait to work with you again, right? He could have said any of this. Yeah, we'll find a project for you. Oh, actually, you can do Wonder Woman 3. No. Basically, they fired her. And the only interactions I think they had with her, right, out of politeness, let's read your crappy script. They read it. It's crap. You're gone. That's why she said there was no way, there was nothing I could do moving forward. I couldn't move forward with it. You couldn't move forward with it, Patty, because you were fired. But there's the way we speak, and then there's Hollywood speak. But you see, she couldn't come out and be honest and say, I was fired from Wonder Woman 3. So what she did, what she wanted to do is say, I've got a great relationship with Warner Brothers, James Gunn and Peter Safran, but there was no way I could move forward with Wonder Woman 3. Yeah, because you were sacked. Basically, all that monologue does is deny that she walked away. In fact, isn't it, I don't know what's better. You know, everyone in the industry and the public thinking that she walked away as a diva or that she was fired. What's better? It doesn't really matter what she said in that monologue. Everyone has seen Patty Jenkins for what she is. Someone who is incompetent of making huge movies at Hollywood. Simple as that. She's not capable. Wonder Woman 84 is basically evidence of this. And what's frightening about this is that she was going to do the same thing again. Now, there's a rumoured situation in her Wonder Woman 3, which was that Steve Trevor was actually going to be in this movie, even though Chris Pine denied this. And basically the plot was that Diana, using the Lazarus Pit, brings back Steve Trevor, and at the end of the movie, he joins Task Force X. Now, this would have been really exciting because Steve Trevor in the comics, the portion of the comics before, has worked for the Suicide Squad and Task Force X. So to have Chris Pine interacting with the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, you know, Harley Quinn, would have been a lot of fun, and it would have been great involvement for the character. So that's something that's kind of, that's interesting. But ultimately, I have to remember that this is the person who did Wonder Woman 84. And as David Tennant's First Doctor says, after he kills the Sycorax leader, no more second chances. I'm that kind of man. And that's it. You know, this is our beloved DC, everyone. And we need the best people working on it. So this decision to fire her, and make no mistake, she has been fired. She's pretty much said it. So what does this monologue actually clarify? What does it change from what Boris Kitt said last week? Boris Kitt claimed that she walked away after getting notes. Well, I suppose from a certain point of view that's true. But according to her, she's basically, look, she's saying she doesn't want to, she couldn't tolerate the clickbait articles. She's trying to call Boris Kitt a liar. She's saying she didn't walk away, that she was quite willing to make any changes. Well, Boris Kitt's article claimed last week she wasn't willing to make those changes and she walked away. And Humberto Gonzalez, as I said earlier, claimed that she sent the co-chair of the co-chair of Warner Brothers Pictures, Mike DeLuca, kind of a memorandum in an email from the internet on the meaning of character arcs. Now, this is something you do not do to your boss. Now, you can do this to David Zaslav, who has no experience in scripted entertainment, but Mike DeLuca has been around. Mike DeLuca understands comic books. He understands character arcs really well. He produced the first Blade movie. Mike knows more about character arcs and these DC characters, Patty, than you ever will. And I've said he's probably more qualified to run DC Studios than James Gunn and Peter Safran put together. But we will see their plan. We will find out some things. Ultimately, whether it's this week or after Christmas or whenever. And you will get the mist cleared for you yet again here on Movies TV Mad. Because here on this channel, we're not about the bullshit. We're not here to be friends with producers, directors and studios. We don't care about free gift buckets and free tickets to premieres. We don't care about that bullshit. We're not here to get loads of crown jewels on your backs. I'm here because you're here. The DC fans, the movie fans, the TV show fans, the Doctor Who fans. I'm here for you. Ultimately, I'm here for us. I'm a fan, you're fans, and we want to be informed. And you want someone's true opinion and not bullshit, so I can be best mates with James Gunn, Peter Safran, David Zaslav, or anyone else. So in the past 25 minutes, I have delivered you a factual statement from a director, and I have cleared away the mist for you. Patty Jenkins is not going to be moving forward with Wonder Woman 3. We already know that. The only difference is from her BS monologue is she's readjusted the parameters and the reasons why that's not happening. I could not move forward with Wonder Woman 3. Again, I have to repeat myself because a lot of people out there are hard of hearing, unfortunately, and I'm not talking about the kind of audio impaired people who can't help but not being able to hear, right? I'm talking about people who are so locked in their own opinions, they don't listen to factual statements. Like, oh, I want to stick with this, with the DCEU because I like it. Yeah, but is what you like and what you enjoy the best for DC? I don't think it is. We all know what's best for DC, a full reboot. We're probably not going to get it. I will stand by that opinion, and I think a soft reboot will fail. But we've had those conversations, and when that situation crops up again, we'll go into it and see exactly what they're going to do here. But the removal of Patty Jenkins shows, in fact, that Peter Safran and James Gunn are actually making some very, very good decisions and emotional decisions. Now, I've been quite critical since the Boris Kit Hollywood Reporter article about them, because at the end of the day, that's my job, to look at what's being said. And, you know, and that article rose a lot of interesting scenarios and situations and indecisiveness. But the removal of Patty Jenkins proves that Peter Safran and James Gunn are not afraid to make the big decisions. Removing her was a big decision. The easy decision that doesn't cause any waves was keeping Patty Jenkins. Already the propaganda merchants on Twitter, she's a woman. How dare you? What about this man who's not very good at his job? When I was little, I tore up my mum's plants, and when I was caught, I said, what about my brother John? He once did something bad as well. It doesn't matter. She made a shit comic book movie, and we should, you know, she should not be allowed to make another shit comic book movie. And James Gunn and Peter Safran have said, no, no more, no more, no more. We've got to have the best people making these movies. This is Wonder Woman. This is Superman. This is Batman we're talking about. And basically, since the inception of Man of Steel, this is the problem. I'm not saying anything bad about Zack Snyder, if that's what you think. Zack had a vision. I love Zack's DC movies. They weren't for a mainstream audience, but wow, me personally, I really appreciate them. So yeah, basically, we've learned nothing here with this Patty Jenkins monologue, but basically what we've learned, and what she's confirmed, is what I told you a week ago, that the whole she walked away thing was basically trying to make it look like she wasn't fired. And what happened ultimately, she thought, no, even though being fired looks bad on me, it looks worse on me if it looks like I'm a diva who wasn't willing to take some notes. Because if you want to work in Hollywood, you have to take notes, unless you're Steven fucking Spielberg or James Cameron. I mean, James Gunn doesn't really take notes, and now he won't have to take any notes because, well, apart from David Zaslav, because he's the one writing the notes, James Gunn now, isn't he? But yeah, this is brilliant. This is actually really good what we found out after what she wrote. That basically she was fired, because I was worried if she walked away, they were actually going to allow her to continue. But it looks like James Gunn and Peter Safran said, look, we can't continue with this person. She is incompetent. We've seen what she's done. If we were to allow her to make another film, it just would be wrong. And there's another situation as well. They have a plan. clearly for DC and for Wonder Woman, Batman and Superman and beyond. And what she wanted to do didn't fit. But she claims she was willing to go any direction they wanted her to. But ultimately, they didn't want her to go any direction because James Gunn and Peter Safran fired Patty Jenkins, and that, my friends, is clearing away the mist and giving you factual information. This has been Movies TV Mad with Wednesday's edition of the DC Universe Daily, spitting you facts again. I am Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. And I'll see you again in the next video. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.